My daughter not only matters, but I do not want my daughter to be forgotten. I want my daughter's story to be talked about. I want her to be remembered. 5 months, I'm told by my friends, I'm crying over somebody I never met before. I'm told by people, well, she wasn't even a person. She was just a fetus.
Ruslan.
As if the conversation around politics and Christianity couldn't get any more polarizing. You had Donald Trump come out just a few weeks ago saying that he is for the exception of the deletion of babies in certain instances, and that the federal ban on said procedure is too harsh, that the pro-lifers are getting it wrong. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, this was not really pro-life in that sense. And that's a near and dear issue to a lot of Christians. Well, RFK, who a lot of people are seeing as a viable third option, came out and said something even more egregious, okay? Viewer discretion is advised. We're going to look at specifically what RFK said and just drive home the point that this idea that if you vote for this guy, you're not a Christian. If you vote this way, you're not, like, it's completely out of the water.
Yep.
If you're trying to say, I need to vote for someone that actually agrees with all my values, that's long gone. So let's stop shaming the RFK voters and the Trump voters, because neither of them have a biblical view on this topic. Okay, and his is worse.
But so to leave, so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion.
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Okay, and I think. But so to leave.
Okay. Are we all on the same page on what that means? Do you guys understand what even if it's full term mean? That means up to the point of the baby coming out.
Delivery, straight up.
Full term is we're ready to go.
Yeah, full term is 38 weeks and over?
Yeah.
37 weeks, I think.
Something like this. It's high.
Yeah. My baby was born at 38 weeks.
That's right.
40 weeks is usually the full.
Right.
And I think 37 and over is technically full term.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this is dark.
I had a real baby at 38 weeks.
Yeah, this is dark. This is a position that not even pro-choicers are comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's how bad this position is.
They're like, well, it's kind of a human at that point.
Destiny, in his debate with Trent Horn, thinks there should be who's a liberal.
A super liberal.
Super liberal. Pick an issue, Destiny's going to be on the left side of it, with the exception of Israel, ironically enough. Israel and Palestine. He's very pro-Israel.
Super interesting.
Super interesting. Destiny thinks there should be a ban at around 20 weeks. Or with the exception of, like, the mother's life, which is kind of a nonsensical position.
Yeah.
So this is dark. Like, this is a I haven't thought through this enough position, right? Because this is how this fleshes out. We're going to give you guys an example. It's going to be really sad, but I think it's important we really acknowledge what the horror of what RFK is talking about.
As my friend said, we drove quite a little bit to be here today. Before I get into my question, I just wanted to say my daughter's name is Clementine. She was 5 months along when she was aborted in New Jersey. My daughter was healthy. I begged her mother not to go through with the abortion. For 5 months, we went back and forth. I don't hate my ex. I love her. And I'm working on forgiving her. She was confused. She was uncertain. And she had doubts. Mike Tyson has doubts before he gets into a ring. This was an option, and she took that option, and she regrets it now. Why do you think, and this is just a thought that just came into my head, why do you think that people dehumanize my Clementine? Why wasn't she human enough for people to help me mourn? Why wasn't she human enough for people to talk about? My mother was given birth to prematurely at 5 months. My daughter was 5 months. I didn't get to say goodbye to my daughter. I didn't know about the abortion until after it happened. I begged her not to do the appointment. She told me that she canceled it. My daughter was 5 months, and she was ripped apart. My daughter doesn't get a funeral. My daughter doesn't get respect. As my friend asked, yeah, medical testing on a healthy baby. Why? My girlfriend didn't pay for the abortion. The clinic did. How much money did they make off of my daughter's body?
Oh my God.
How many other babies did the doctor kill since she's been dead. This has been a month and 3 days. This happened March 12th and 13th. My daughter was conceived October 25th. She was supposed to be born July 20th. My daughter was a person. My daughter is an angel. And I pray for her every single day. I talk to her. I still feel like she's there. I feel like
the answer to his question is, I hate to say it, guys like RFK, guys like Biden, like the ideology of a woman's right to financial and career aspirations and self-actualization trumps the rights of a baby.
Mm-hmm.
That is why. That is the zeitgeist. That is the culture that we're in. A woman's, and it's part feminism, and it's part dehumanization of babies. We have a low view of family in society, a low view of kids. That is what we're dealing with, right? And I'm not saying everybody in society. I'm saying that there is a fragment of people. Like, go to New York City, for example. You won't see a lot of kids. Most major cities, you're not going to see as many kids walking around doing stuff, right? You'll see them, but they'll be rare. Whereas, like, if you're in a different part of the country, you'll see more kids playing at the park.
Yep.
That is why, right? And so, because he will say things and make flippant statements like, I'm okay. And RFK's been sus. Like, he has all kinds of sus views on all kinds of issues. So the fact that, like, folks are surprised is like, wow.
on July 20th, my daughter's going to be there. She doesn't get a funeral. I have her sonogram picture the first time I heard her heartbeat. And I bring this up to people and I say, well, she had a heartbeat. Wasn't she a person? And I'm being told she's a fetus.
Look at the room. Everyone's
which,
crying.
by the way, everybody, that's Latin for offspring. Okay? So I don't know why we're speaking Latin. I speak English. And my daughter not only matters, but I do not want my daughter to be forgotten. I want my daughter's story to be talked about. I want her to be remembered. She wasn't just a fetus. And yeah, maybe she was just a 10%. Maybe. But she was a lot more than that for me. For 5 months, I'm told by my friends, I'm crying over somebody I never met before. I'm told by people, well, she wasn't even a person. She was just a fetus. She wasn't even a baby. She wasn't fully developed. My daughter was still growing. And my relationship with my daughter was going to grow for the rest of our lives. Why isn't my daughter human enough for people to care? Why isn't my daughter woman enough for her to have a body and for her to have a choice? My original question when I was coming up here was, can I see the clamps? I don't want to see the clamps no more. I've heard enough about it and I've seen the pictures. And yeah, the guy said Wi-Fi and Google search. You could Google what it looks like. It's out there. I did. I wouldn't recommend it. I still have nightmares. My daughter was going to be beautiful, but now I don't know where she is. I'm just so confused. I get it. I'm just a man. You know what I mean? But men, we're not supposed to have feelings. As a father, because I'm still a father. As a father, I'm just supposed to forget. I'm just supposed to move on. And I'm confused. So my question really isn't for you because you understand. My question is really for society. Why doesn't my daughter matter? Why wasn't she enough? Why didn't she get a chance to live? And ultimately, no, I'm not blaming my ex. She had doubt and she regrets it.
Jeez.
It's also the juxtaposition of, like, hearing the man side of it now.
Right.
It's like, this is the logical conclusion of my body, my choice. Is that, like, oh, we're just completely neglecting the father's involvement.
Yep.
In which case, you always hear the trope of, like, oh, the
Men
father
trying to control
that are trying to
women's
get
bodies,
women
yeah,
to do the abortion or whatever. But it's like, what about the guy that wants the baby?
Yep.
And then now it's just her choice.
Yep.
And now he gets to, like, imagine that poll of trying, like, you're convinced this woman has my child, but she's not convinced that's my child. Like, that's a human. And so you're, like, trying to advocate for your baby outside of control. And you can't control at all. And then you find out afterward, like, hey, last week I got an abortion. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Ultimately, this is our government's fault. We've stopped evil laws in the past in America, in Germany, and you guys know what I'm talking about. We came together and we stopped evil laws. This is an evil law that killed my daughter. Her mother did not kill her. Again, doctors like this man right here, you're not to blame. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and thank you for speaking up, because this is important. And not enough men care enough to speak up. So thank you. I hugged this man today. I don't know who did this to my daughter. I wish I could ask him, was my daughter beautiful? That's all I want to know. What did her face look like? My daughter matters. And I really hope that everybody remembers Clementine. And I hope you think about Clementine as much as I do. She is loved and she is not forgotten. And I hope that everybody can keep her memory alive too. Thank you.
Sheesh, man. Props to that dude. You know, he makes an interesting point, and we talked about this, and I wanted just to bring it back to your guys' attention. When we're talking about laws, right? Talk about the government, and we're talking about politics. What is the role of government? People are like, you can't pass laws to oppress women.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pass laws to hurt women. You can't, right?
Yep.
You're controlling. But like the government's role, according to Scripture, if we're going off of Scripture, if you're a Christian, like the government's role, according to the Apostle Paul in Romans 13, is for the one in authority, this is about government, is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid. For rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servant, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience. This is also why you pay taxes. For the authorities are God's servants who give their full-time governing, give to everyone what you owe them, right? And so the role of government is to use the sword against wrongdoing. The role of government is to suppress evil. Sometimes we want the role of government to create a utopia for us. According to Scripture, that's actually not the role of government. There's other institutions for that. The church, the private sector, nonprofits. But the role of government is not to create a utopia. The role of government is to suppress evil, is to have laws in place so that there's order, not create a utopia. And so I think a lot of people have it backwards. You want the government to create the utopia for you and then let people continue doing evil and continue waging lawlessness, and you completely get it backwards. But that's not like the government's job is not to fix your life. The government's job is not to send you a check. The government's job is to suppress evil so that you have, in America, if you're an American, you have the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. That's the role of the government, is to suppress evil. I'm glad that you shared a story, and I hope more men step up and share these sorts of stories, because I think it's important. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And be sure to check out this video that YouTube is recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.